What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? So I'm heading down to the Canadian International Auto Show today. It's a beautiful sunny day in February. If you don't follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you should, because I'll probably find some cool shit there to post, and you'll only see it there. So it's just Entrepreneurs in Cars on Instagram and Facebook. What I'm going to do today is talk about real estate investing, stocks, and bonds. I've had a few requests over the last few months in the comments, so I've put this off. I'll get it done today. I'm not going to talk that much about real estate. In fact, I think I'm going to leave it because I have a really good friend of mine that does know how to make money in real estate. And what I'm doing right now, I only like to speak from experience if I have something that's of value. And all I've really learned in the last 3 to 4 years in my real estate investing career is I found a way to basically double your money every 4 years. But I had an incident. If you saw a video back in November, you can go back and look for it. It's I think titled "You Won't Always Make Money in Real Estate." I lost about 56 grand. So I'm going to try to get together with my buddy Ian over the next couple weeks and shoot a video with him and see what kind of information I can get from him on real estate investing, because he really knows his shit. So for stocks, let's talk about what doesn't work first of all, because sometimes it's easier to put a list together of non-negotiables first and not do things that don't work. So from my experience, the first thing that I can dispense as far as advice from my own experience when what hasn't worked is penny stocks. I know my logic behind it has always been, you know, the stock is, 50 cents and I can buy 2,000 of them and my cost is peanuts, and if it goes up to $5, I've made 100 grand and blah blah blah. And that's never the case. I've lost money every single time. You're investing into a business. So I'm an entrepreneur, I have a company, and I know from experience for myself, from the people that I've met over the years, 9 out of 10 businesses are going to fail. And if a business has a stock trading at $30, $40, $50 a share, it's because they have some value there, and that's why it's trading at that. If a stock's trading at 50 cents, it's probably worth shit. It's not worth anything because there's no value there. And I must have done this probably at least 6 or 7 times where I'm like, I'll throw a grand at this and see what happens. Poof, it's gone. A year later, the company's bankrupt. So I've done this quite a few times, thrown a jizzle here, a jizzle there, and it's gone. Like, it always disappears. So I don't invest in penny stocks anymore. I stay well away from them. I look for stocks at least, I'm going to say minimum trading value $15 to $20. So those are the price points that I look for. And that's not to say that I'll only stay at that. I've bought stocks as much as $75 to $85. I'd love to buy Google, which is at $670 last time I checked it, maybe 700 or so. But for the amount of shares that I'm going to buy, it's really not a whole lot of value for me for growth. So that's my first tip. Second tip is don't listen to people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I've fallen for this a few times. I'll give you an example again. I like to speak from experience. I had a friend that called me once who was working in-house in a trading, I don't know, it was like a discount brokerage, let's call it. And there was a stock at the time called Nortel. If there's any Canadians who are watching it, you know how this story ended. Not very well. And he calls me up and he goes, "Hey Rich, did you go and buy a shitload of Nortel today like a good little boy? Because it's dropped, I don't know, what did he say, like 30%. So he's like, it's great value, you should go buy some." So I did, and I lost all of my money. I probably lost like 20 grand on that investment. So unless you're taking advice from somebody that really knows what they're doing and they have a track record of proven success, I wouldn't listen to anybody. I've taken stock advice from quite a few people, and there's only one person that I've made money from taking advice from, and that was my brother. And that's because he spends a shitload of time reading up on the investments that he puts his money into. So that brings me to number 3. Do your homework. Do what my brother does and spend a lot of time reading up on the stuff that you want to invest in, because it will make a big difference. There's a whole bunch of great websites there that have tons of tools and resources. I highly recommend you spend some time on them, doing some homework on the stuff that you're looking to throw your money at, you're becoming a investor in that company. So if you're going to go and throw your money at it and spend your hard-earned after-tax money buying up stocks that are being offered publicly, hang on a second, I know you guys like to hear the exhaust. Little tunnel action. There you go. Go and do your research. It's exceptionally important to make sure that you fully understand what you're getting into. So that's my other tip. My next tip: buy stocks that pay dividends. This is something that I got from Kevin O'Leary, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense. If you're going to invest your money into a company, again, you're looking for something that's trading for minimum, $20 a share. They have dividends. Those things will get reinvested either back into the share or it creates cash flow. It is a great idea. I've never looked back since I started doing it. I always look for shares that pay dividends. So look for that if you're going to invest in the stock market. The next thing I want to point to is, it's pretty obvious, but buy low and sell high. So you have to look for buying opportunities. There's only been a couple of times in my personal investing career where I've made money from buying opportunities, and I'll use one example. So 9/11 in 2001, World Trade Centers got smacked. They went down and America went to war, right? So they wanted to go and right the wrongs and rah rah rah, and I get it. And one of the companies that had done very well a few years after that event, because the stock market took a crash, so there was a correction. And what ended up happening was a company called United Technologies, and I think they own Pratt & Whitney, if I'm not mistaken, which made jet engines, and I believe they had the contract, or they just recently got the contract for the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. They also have a company under their umbrella, which I believe is called Otis Elevators. There's a shitload of construction going on from 2001 up to 2008 in large city centers, so there was elevators needed for stuff like that, especially in Shanghai, China. They were talking about tons of development there. So you have to look for opportunities that ride certain waves. If you can spot them, get in on them. One that I've gotten in on recently that I haven't made money on yet is oil stocks. The barrel of oil has been $125, $135 up to $140 was the high, I think, and it's around $30 a barrel now. It's not going to stay that low forever. You will see oil stocks go back up. So now is a great buying opportunity. I tend to like to piggyback off people that know what they're doing really well. So when I heard Warren Buffett bought a shitload of Suncor stocks, which is a Canadian oil company, I bought some of those. I also diversified a little bit and went into some of the other industry suppliers, like the guys that supply software and control systems for the oil and gas industry, because they don't have any hardware or any hard operating costs. Oh, that was a stone that hit my windshield. So things like that. So look for cycles where, like I said, you want to buy low and sell high. So look for opportunities where the market's been depressed, it's taken a hit, but there's lots of upside growth. So it's a good, strong company. It's got solid financials and good cash flow. My next tip is don't fall in love with a stock. I'll give you an example. I fell in love with a diamond mine, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago in the Yukon, Northwest Territories. A whole bunch of press releases they put out. Woo, waving the hands, blah, blah, blah. They made it look like they were going to, be the next $1 billion stock, and I lost everything. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the idea. I fell in love with the technologies they were bragging about. There's really nothing that, was there behind it. It just didn't go anywhere. So make sure you don't fall in love with the company. One of the best pieces of advice I got from a book that I read, I can't remember the title of it for the life of me. I read it like 10 years ago. Again, look for good resources that are well published and end up becoming New York Times bestsellers when it comes to knowledge and know-how in the stock market. But they said you want to make sure that you don't hold on to the stock for too long. So if you're comfortable making, I don't know, 30%, 25%, let's say, upside on your stock, then sell when you get to it. Don't hold on to it hoping to get 70 or 80% upside on it. You want to make sure that you're selling when people are buying and you're buying when people are selling. That was another tip that I got. And that's really about it. I mean, I can't bang on for too long about stocks. I'm not even going to talk about bonds, if I'm being honest, because those are really just fixed term. You throw your money and you get a fixed rate, and that's it. I don't invest in a lot of bonds. Stock market, yes, and real estate, yes. But those are my tips for investing in the stock market. I hope you find that useful. Oh, that's funny. I bought a condo over here, actually. It looks like they're starting to pour the concrete. The crane's up. Cool. Those are my tips. If you got any questions, throw them in the comments below. Actually, if you have questions about real estate investing specifically, throw them in the comments below of this video, because I'm going to be hooking up with my friend in about another week or two, so I'll make sure I gather them and I'm able to ask him as we hook up and go through stuff that comes up there. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. We'll talk to you later. Peace.